Jai Bhavani.
Hey. Welcome back, Mr. Gyan. And here we are again, 6 months later. It has been 6 months, right? So
Possibly. Time's
what's been
flying
up?
fast, my friend.
I know. So what's been up? What has been keeping you busy?
The usual first 6 months, how's it going first? All good with you? I've been busy this year. I've shifted homes. So that took 2, 3 months out of the first 6 months. Been exciting, been interesting, new places, nice, good vibes, very good vibes. So enjoying, thankful for it. And work's been pretty much gearing up for the festive season. बहुत सारा लड्डू बेचना है इस बार तो
अरे,
उसी के लिए तैयारी हो रही है प्लस
तुम
या
भी एक लड्डू वाला हो गया बे तुम भी एक लड्डू वाला हो गया है लाडू वाला but good
यस
stuff, man. I think this is a I think this is a good way of doing a podcast. You do it once in a while, but you have something to say. So I think that I really like that format. Even though, I mean, a lot of podcasters out there, they tend to do almost one episode a week or sometimes two episodes a week. Some people even do it one every day, which is absolutely crazy. But I think it's at least this
the
format
space
really
is
works
good.
for us. So
The
yeah, so
space
I
is good.
think it's pretty good. Once in 6 months. I would like to do it once in, let's say, 3 months or 2 months, but you know what? We play it by ear,
This
as they say.
this is a good segue to the topic of today. This is summarizes our topic of the day for each of us also.
Yes,
Once in
yes.
6 months,
So
once in 3 months.
that is true. But yeah, last 6 months, it has been
You've been having a
exhausting, to
roller
be
coaster.
honest. Yeah, it's been exhausting with kid, with work. It
Fatherhood.
has been quite the balancing act with the fatherhood. Yes, it's been quite the balancing act. It's been very wholesome. I'm going to put it out there. It has been a great experience. Coming home to a little smiling baby face is
Oh,
absolutely amazing. Touch wood,
nice.
touch wood,
Touch.
touch the
Full
wood.
power, full power.
But it does take a lot of energy. Definitely takes a lot of energy. So for sure, I mean, if for people out there who want to have kids, go for it, but be mentally prepared. It will take a lot of balancing to do, but it is really wholesome. It's one. It's very hard to explain, but it's a very good feeling for sure. So
Good
yeah,
stuff.
that's been 6 months, man, being a father and stuff. So yeah,
Are
it's
you
been great.
feeling are you feeling older or have you feel do you feel like you've leveled up in your like maturity or like do you feel like a man or what? Do you
I
feel your
feel like
age?
I'm reliving. No, I feel like I'm reliving my childhood via this
Hmm?
boy. I am find it very interesting how um, the different aspects of bringing up a child. I mean, he's still 9 months, but you start seeing so many things on how you treat him, how patient you need to be, much, but how much it is about fanning his curiosity without making things forbidden to him. So, usually we don't say no, 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 but we use something else to distract him. So it's like that because if you try and say no, no, no to him, he tends to be more curious about it. So instead, we distract him with something else, or so but
Hack.
also keeps it. Yes, it's the hacks that we've come up with, but it is good, man. It's great. I think um, it's a way to redo a lot of things I think could have been done in my life. I guess I'm not pointing a finger at my parents, but again, my parents also knew a very limited number of things back then versus what we know today. So for sure, and probably it's a cycle. My kid will know better than me how to raise a kid.
Context,
But
environment.
that's that. Yes,
Good
that's
stuff.
that. So let's get to the topic of the day, which is fitness. And since I met you, I don't know, 10 years ago, I think that has been one of the key elements of our relationship, or it started off as one of the key elements of our relationship as friends. So,
Yes.
um, and if I talk about fitness, I don't look like someone who can represent fitness looking at me, but it is what it is, I guess.
Hey, you pulled through. Yay.
I know, I know. So let's begin with your idea of fitness and where did it all begin? What was fitness to you? You know, some basic questions.
Hmm. So fitness, uh, I'm like, we are not aesthetically camera friendly, influencer friendly, fit and all jawbones and six packs and cut and shredded. But I think uh, we've been quite aware of fitness since we've known each other for the 10, 11 years past. So for me, fitness, I've always been a very, matlab from childhood, I was a very active kid. I've, I was, I was playing tennis and I was going swimming and stuff like that. So I've always had a mixed repertoire of fitness. And then in college, there was a gym. So I went to the gym for like 10 days. And that was in 2007. And we are in 2025 right now. So roughly 18 years. Uh, and that's been my thing. I've not been able to gym properly ever, except this one period of like, I think it was just a period of 3 months when I was outside. And then there was a really nice gym and there was a swimming pool. So I used to go to the gym and then do my thing for 40, 45 minutes, run 5, 6K on the treadmill and then go to the swimming pool. That was my thing. And I was 24 then, 23, 24 then. So I was like full young blood and all. And that was the only period of 3 months and it was also, I lost a lot of weight. And then I was like, oh, okay, fine, I'm good. And then jump to 2014. This was in 2011, 2010, 2011. Then jump to 2014 comes the next chapter of fitness in my life, which has been running. So I was never a runner. Uh, I participated in a 200 meters heats once when I was, I think, in the fifth or sixth grade. For the first 100 meters, I was first, and then I ended up last in the heats because I my strategy was completely reverse. Like, so I zoomed in the first 100, and then I lost complete power, steam, everything in the last, which actually mattered. So, and I gave up running after that. So I was never a runner, but 2014 is when I started running in Bangalore, and Bangalore afforded has good green spaces, parks and lakes and stuff like that. So it's always been, and even the roads, early mornings, late nights, afternoon, evenings. So I started running in 2014 and I took it up seriously. And then we met and we happened to have a great office and right in front of a great lake, which was clean for the
Yes.
first 1.5, 2 years.
Before,
And
yeah, of course.
I I was running, and then you got me and Asics shoes,
Oh,
and
I
I
did.
think
Ah, yeah.
that was 1.5 years of pure running. I think I ran like some 1100 kilometers in that 1 year around that place.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was just reviewing my Nike run thing last year or something, and it showed that 2015, 2016. I think a period of like, I think 11, 12, 11 months, I ran like 1100 kilometers. And so that was the peak. And then I've been running all through. Past 2 years has been a bit of an off thing, but I've been cycling, I've been swimming. So and I've recently started tennis again. So, and gym has never been like my scene for some reason. Matlab,
Fair enough.
ek to for
Fair
my
enough.
height, I don't feel that I can bulk too much. I look shorter. I'm short. So I that is one thing I like a wiry athletic frame on me. I think that would look best. But I'm also a very big foodie, so I used to run to have biryani. So that's my fitness mantra basically.
Ah, yeah, yeah. That's actually a very good mantra, I work out to eat, so fair enough. Fair
Exactly.
enough.
Yeah. So that's been my in a capsule. We can get into chapters as we go along. But yeah, that's in a capsule. That's been my fitness in the past, I think, 25 years of my 37 years. How has it been for you?
Interesting.
What has been your
Oh God,
relationship with fitness and your health?
fitness has occupied 50% of my brain space from since I know. I mean, so where up until the sixth grade, I was a very, very thin fellow, very extremely thin guy, like extremely thin, and I used to always keep falling sick. And then my parents introduced. I think that's also the time when you have a growth spurt between the sixth and eighth grade. You have like a solid growth spurt. And at that point in time, unknowingly, my parents introduced cod liver oil to me. And this was like
Okay.
high potency cod liver oil. They used to get it from Singapore because, and they wanted to improve my immunity. So every day after food, they used to give me this disgusting orange flavored cod liver oil.
Uh,
And I would gulp it every day after lunch, just like, or after dinner. I used to get cod liver oil.
okay.
Somehow something changed, and all of a sudden I shot up. I became
Uh-huh.
very tall, and my body became a mesomorph. That means I have a mesomorph body. The
Okay.
definition of this is basically that if I attain a lot of fat or attain a lot of muscle, it doesn't go away very easily. It takes a lot of time for it to go away.
Okay.
So So, genetic potential plus my cod liver oil, it basically, uh, it really expanded me. I mean, I didn't become fat, but I became really tall and I became big. So,
Mm.
that's one of the reasons I don't like shopping is because I could never get anything in the normal section. I always have to go to the
Mhm.
tall and big.
Uh,
So, since then, fitness over the years has been such a tug of war with me. I have become at some point very, very big, very fat. I was almost 170 kilos at one point. I was very big. I was obese. I was really obese. I've come to a point where I was like I couldn't move. There were a lot of things that were starting to go wrong with me, and then but if my starting point for fitness, it was not fitness, but basically I loved playing badminton. So I used to play badminton in school. I used to go
nice.
to Koramangala Club a lot, and I used to go to
Mm.
play badminton there. And then slowly somebody introduced me to the gym. I did go to
Uh,
the gym for a few weeks or a few months. I don't know. I think it was a few months I went to the gym. And it
mm.
was at that same period where that genetic potential had kicked in. So when I started working out, my chest also expanded. So in reality, if you see the my chest ka jo inches hai na, I actually have a 56-inch chest. No kidding. No kidding.
Wow.
It
Okay.
is crazy.
Wow.
I think the 56 inches is pointing towards something, but I actually have a 56
Oh,
inch chest.
okay.
And
Wow.
so for me, and then of course, stress was a big factor. So every time I was stressed, I always used to eat. That was like my way of coping. So I was fighting that battle. And then somewhere down the line, I stopped completely going to the gym and I stopped going to work out. And I had put on a lot of weight during engineering because I had no time to go to the gym. So it was very difficult. So by the end of engineering, I was extremely fat. Like, oh my God, I was 165, 170 kilos.
Okay.
So, but fitness has always been a tug of war with me. And then let's see what happened. So I went to the US and then I got onto this crash diet where I just had juices for like a year. And then I lost a lot of weight,
Okay.
like extreme amount of weight. I started looking good. I started feeling good. That was not very nice. Now I realize it was not very.
Okay.
But uh,
The juice
there
diet
was this
wasn't
doc.
very nice, or you
No,
losing weight wasn't very nice.
that was not very nice from a health perspective.
Right. Right.
It was inspired by a documentary on Netflix called Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead.
Oh, okay. Hmm.
Yeah, so basically it's about this guy who went on a whole juicing fest and he kept
Yeah.
juicing. And basically I also did the same thing. I went on a whole juicing. So I used to have like 3 to 4 glasses of juice every day. I would juice in spinach, cucumber, tomatoes, jo bhi mila. I used to put everything together and juice it and drink it every day. And
Okay.
of course, a lot of good things also happened. I mean, I felt great, but in terms of health benefit, I lost a lot of muscle. I may have lost fat also, but I lost a lot of muscle, which was not very good for me. And it also messes your stomach up. Your gut gets very,
Ah,
your gut
how's
screws
that?
up, and
What's the effect on that?
so
Like fiber and like not eating, like,
so there were a lot of things to it. I mean, but that was a major problem that after 1 year you couldn't sustain it. Your body just it's not happening. It was very difficult to sustain on juices and without any workout. I was always trying to look for the shortcut. That was a shortcut.
hmm,
Um, because every time I started going to the gym, I just couldn't be consistent. It was very difficult to be consistent. This was again, uh, this was back in, I don't know, 2012, 11, 13, still trying to find my ground. It was a lot of things in terms of fitness. Um, yeah. And then finally, when I moved back to India in 2013,
uh,
um, that is when got into fitness again. When I started going to the gym, which was hardly
Gold's Gym.
effective because Gold's Gym. It was very hardly effective because my trainer was also, yeah, was not happening.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I mean, overall, it was not exactly a very successful attempt at trying to get fit.
So did you
It was
gym
just
outside? Did you gym in the US or were you just juicing?
for a few days, for a few
Uh,
weeks, I guess. Yeah. Uh, I mean, it was when I was in school, between the sixth and ninth grade, I was into badminton pretty much. And then,
uh,
you know how it is at home, na ki, arey, pad lo, exam aa raha hai, test aa raha hai. You're always trying to, the studies was always a thing, ki kar lo, kar lo, kar
right.
lo. And it was really, uh, I don't know, it was
So
not a very
that's what
effective journey.
that I've seen that in our generation as in we grew up in the 90s. So I so there was this, I don't know if you saw this in Bangalore in parks or whatever, or you ever went there. I don't think so. I ever went for my like. I think I like my mom and dad took me for like one evening walk to a stadium or something with the angle of walking. Like they let's go walking. But nowadays, I see a lot of like parents with their kids in the morning, taking them for a morning walk or even going, they are cycling and the kid is cycling in front and stuff like that. So there's a lot more focus on, getting into that morning because I think even the parents have now this, which is you and our age, my age. Parents are more aware of fitness. So they are involving the kids more. But like, I don't think so till the
Maybe, yeah.
90s.
I think that's great. I want to touch upon this topic because I don't think it probably happened with you, but it happened with me a lot. Because
Okay.
first of all, a lot of people ended up giving me sorry for the profanity, but this always boils my blood. But भैंचोद सब बैठ के टिप्पणी देते हैं. Oh,
Uh,
you should eat less. Oh, you eat too much. Oh, you
okay.
should go walking. 45-minute walk is good. Some
Okay.
fuck all random fact they will give you, and or they'll come and say, do yoga. अच्छा, आपने कभी जिंदगी में योगा किया है जो मुझे बैठ के ये ज्ञान पेल रहे हो? It was
Huh.
unbelievable. Nobody had an iota of understanding what fitness was, and everybody had tippanis to give you. हाँ ये लो ये 10 रुपए का बेंचो टिप्पणी है ये लेके. So
And that
it was
person is
harrowing with
probably
people.
having the person is having candy while giving you the advice.
Yeah, fuck. Everybody had their own thing. And the worst part was ki everybody in terms of fitness gave you tippanis, but nobody was ready to sit with you and
Doing the
understand what the problem is, right? What is going
uh,
on, how to work it out. Sab tippani dete hain, theek hai na?
hmm,
And also on top of that, I think one of the key things that I'd also like to address is the way people used to shame fat people, right? the
Fat
fat
shame.
shaming. Yeah, fat shaming. I think fat shame. I'm completely against fat shaming is because I'm completely against it because I've seen the horrors of it, right? And
You've dealt with them.
yes, I've dealt with them, and I've also realized ki uh, people who are fat, there's
Mm,
so many things going on with them mentally that puts them in this position. Nobody
mm,
wants to be fat by choice, right? It is something that has happened, and to what do you say, to unwind it, to figure what is going on, it's a
mm,
process. It's not easy. And but once you
mm,
become fat, it is proven that genetically it is harder for you to lose fat and keep the fat off. But why did you get fat in the first place, right? Mentally, you have to unwind it. You have to pull the strings at it. You have to see how it happened. So
So
there's a
this is
lot of fat
interesting.
shaming.
So
There's a lot
yeah,
of
so I
fat
just want
shaming.
to sorry. I just wanted to have this matlab, I just wanted to have this here key. So because of so you became fat in college.
Yeah, toward by the
Fat
end,
in college.
very
You
fat.
were a
Yeah,
growing kid anyways, matlab, all of that was
up
accounted for.
until
But then
school. Up
so
until
you
school.
started feeling or you started actually gaining a lot of mass in college, right?
Yes, a lot of
And
fat.
that is when the advising and just pseudo advising and fat
No,
shaming begins. Is that
no,
the
it
point in
starts.
time where it begins?
No, it started much early, like in the 10th and the 11th. There were kids. I mean, right now when I look back, I'm like, yeah, you were all malnourished. You're not in. You cannot be in the same league. I've realized that in terms of you're all
Uh,
malnourished kids. I'm sorry. Ask your dad to buy you a candy. I don't care. But this is how I
uh,
look at it. Like how many people pulled at me of being so big, and I was not. I was not fat, but I was big. I was tall. I was big. I was chubby, but I
yeah,
was
so
not fat. Fat.
this is also like intimidated, bullying through intimidated because they were intimidated by your growth or even
Maybe.
envious or jealous. The only way
Maybe.
to counter it was ki, okay, we'll just pull him down by bullying him and fat shaming him. Do you
There
think
were a
that is
lot of
a approach?
no. There were a lot of elements to my people bullying me. Was I came from a privileged family, so of course that played a big role in it.
Mm,
And I went to a school where basically it was a very different a very different crowd that came to the school, right? I mean, my parents
mm,
wanted me to be humble, but instead of getting humbled, I got bullied like crazy. And I was a sensitive kid. I was a very sensitive kid. So all of
mm.
these factors made me put on a lot of weight. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm a victim. No, I'm not a victim.
But
But
these
for
are
sure, all
factors.
of these are the
Mm,
factors. They happen, and then when you go and, for example, when you ever played a sport, let's say for example, cricket, height and weight were never a good factor because you needed somebody who was slender, who was fast, who was, that was one.
yeah.
Uh, then secondly, basketball was good, but I was slow because I was big, right? I
Mm,
mean, my bone, I've never had a broken bone in my life, in my entire life, because my bone density is so high. It is very
mm.
very high. मतलब वो बोलते ना, वो सनी देओल बोलता है ये 2.5 किलो का हाथ. If you really look at my hand, it is probably more than 2.5 किलो का हाथ. So it is extremely extremely dense. My bone density is extreme, and it comes from genetics, right? And to support a
Mm,
very heavy bone frame, you need mass. You cannot be
yeah.
without mass, right?
Mm.
But not many people understood that back in the day. They said, "Ha, you're fat because
What do you call
you look
Motu?
big." Oh, I used to be
What do you
called
call?
Ganesha,
So how is that
Mota,
bad, fucker? I
Ganesha,
know. I'm like,
because
you're not being called a Hathi now. You're being called Ganesha. You're being called a
नहीं
Bhagwan
एक
bhai.
था क्या था, there was a name, there was a name from in Kannada. It was called
In
Domu or
in
Doma or
descending
something like
order
that.
of in descending order of offensiveness, what were your top three things that you were called that you were like, what the fuck, bro? This is like really big, or it still sticks.
Fatty,
Or,
Ganesha, but they were not calling me Ganesha because they thought I was some sort of godly figure. They called me Ganesha because I was fat. It's very simple.
okay,
Then an
fatty, I would
elephant,
give fatty. I would
then
give 4 out of 10 for innovativeness, impact. If sorry, Ganesha, I would give
fatty,
2.5.
Ganesha.
It's
And then
possibly a good
somebody
one.
said, when I was dancing, then somebody said, "Oh yeah, it's quite interesting to see an elephant dance so gracefully." And I was like, "Okay, you're a real son of a bitch." But
Okay, but yeah, okay. So, uh, okay, yeah, that one is weird. But 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 the and I would also like to put it out there that you're really light on your feet when you're dancing.
I was very light.
Matlab,
I've been very light on my feet.
I've seen you.
That means I could.
I've run with you and I've danced with you. You run like a tractor with 100 kilos of hay on it.
Yes,
Like not even a tractor. You run like a road roller. Imagine the
yes,
road rollers
yes,
in India. You run like that. But you
yes.
dance like a motherfucking BMW M3 on the track, bro. Matlab, you're so fucking like, what's going on there? Matlab, eh,
Because running is basically a lot of power that comes from the core, right? And a lot of power comes from the core and the legs, and you have to keep your body in the your top
a
body,
decent posture. To,
yeah, you have to keep up. But with dancing, what happens? Every part of your body is activated. So basically, when you're moving, your legs are active, your core is active, your hands are active. You're controlling your weight by moving in different directions, and you're following. So it's basically weight control, like gravity, center of gravity.
okay.
You keep shifting the center of gravity and then moving accordingly. So that part is easy, right?
Hmm.
Um, and that part I can get. But when it comes to running, it's I've never ran in my life, dude. I was never a running guy. I was a badminton guy, and when I think I very interestingly in the 11th grade or the 12th grade, 11th no, or 12th grade. In the 12th grade, I signed up for a 100-meter race. And everybody was shocked. Ki, "Arey, you're running." I said, "Yeah, dude, I want to run a 100-meter race. I know I'm going to lose, but I want to do it because fuck it. Who's going to, I mean, we all
Yeah,
know,
running on the
right?
track is interesting, man. It's a good experience.
Yeah.
It's an
So I
interesting feeling.
ran. I remember I ran 100 meters and I came last. But very interestingly is I was cheered on the most. Ki,
Nice,
everybody was
nice,
cheering for me. So it was like, holy shit, okay. And
nice.
like nobody cared about the guy who came first because they knew he was good. They were all like clapping, woo, he fucking ran a 100-meter race. Holy shit, man, crazy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well done. Good. That's good.
So that was interesting. Of course, I've done a lot of things that defy what I'm supposed to do or what I'm accordingly to
Hmm.
do. But let's not divert in very different
Hmm.
regions. Let's come back a little bit. So yeah, so that is something that I wanted to address was that there's
Hmm.
a lot of fat shaming, a lot of issues when it comes to fat people. It's not
Hmm.
easy. There are a lot of mental blocks. At least that's what I went through. A lot of mental blocks, a lot of issues. And yeah, that is something that losing fat and gaining muscle is
Hmm.
not only going to the gym and lifting weights. It's a big mental exercise as well.
Hmm.
And for that, you need a very strong mind. Now, if
Yeah.
somebody, for example, has been fit all his life, he has never experienced this. So it's very hard for him to grasp what somebody in my position has to go through.
Hmm.
It's a very easy to say, yeah, go run around the block and it's
Hmm.
fitness. But it is a lot of things to it. Like, for example, your genetics makes a big, big play. Like
Hmm.
being a mesomorph. there's endomorph, ectomorph, and mesomorph. And being
Hmm.
my situation where it's very hard to lose fat because your body does not want to lose mass, right? I mean, I'm 6 feet 3 inches with a 56-inch chest.
Hmm.
Uh, there's a lot of
Because you're
there
six
is a
three and
lot of
56.
yeah. So it's not easy for me to lose weight. And also, there
Hmm.
are a lot of mental hurdles that I've had to jump to come to a point where fitness has become a thing. So
Yeah.
now, coming back to, I think, when we first met, uh, that was a time when basically um I had,
Hyper
if
monkey,
I,
baby.
yeah, but how did I get there? So I was at Gold's Gym, and then something went wrong at Gold's Gym, so I stopped going. And then my sister, she came up to me and said, "Why don't you join group classes? Maybe it'll help you." And she was
Hmm.
going to Hyper Monkey Fitness, which was in Bangalore, Koramangala, where they did
Yeah.
group classes. And I was a little skeptical at first, but then I said, "ठीक है, chalo, let's go." And she took me for Zumba.
Hmm.
And surprisingly, Zumba kicked it off. Like, I really, really enjoyed Zumba. And then they offered, I think, and that is where I met you also, right? While we were doing Zumba, that is when we started.
Zumba, yeah.
Yeah, Zumba with Rohit. Shout out to Rohit, brah. But
Smita and Rohit.
Smita and Rohit. Smita Alwa, right? Her name was?
Yes.
Yes,
Smita,
yes. Smita
Rohit, and there
Alwa
was
and
one more
Kim
Zumba
Kumudini.
trainer.
Kim
Yeah.
Kumudini.
Kim,
Yes,
yeah.
Kim.
Good
Yes,
ones. Good
shout out to
session.
all of them. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
yo. And then at the same facility, they also offered CrossFit type exercise. It was not purely CrossFit, but it was a lot of like Uthak Batak, but in a newer
Yeah.
format. So they had Death by Monkey, I think that was one. And then they had
That
kickboxing
was
in
a
another
full
session.
kickboxing. Yeah.
Yes, kickboxing was another. So then I started signing up for all these classes and I started getting hooked on to Zumba and kickboxing. And
Yeah.
but unfortunately those classes didn't do very well for me. I mean, they were good, but they never helped me lose weight. They just got me to a point where I started become mobile again. I became very mobile, very active, which was very, very good, but it never
Yeah.
addressed the problem of fat, just fat development in a body. So that, I
True.
think, that is where I think you can take over. What was your journey from there, and then I will continue my
Yeah, so 2013, 14, I think that's when Hypermonkey comes along. And basically that comes along because they had put out some offer of free trial classes. So my
right.
flatmates and I decided on a whim, okay, we have three classes, let's go. This is Zumba and then there's a couple kickboxing and stuff. So and I, cool. It was around 10 minutes away from where I was staying at that point in time. And I was like, cool. Then, yeah, so I think it was the same for me because after the intense gym swimming combination, fast forward a year when this happens, it helped me to get mobile again, basically. It was a place to meet new people. Again, group sessions was something that was really interesting. I by then I had also realized that I cannot do gym consistently. I'm not that person to be going 25 days in a month, three six like for the 12 months and then bulking up. I am not that person. I don't I don't seem so. This really, again, group session was great. It was a mix of different things. I ended up eating more and probably gaining more weight because it was just more active and cardio led. But it kind of got me back on my feet, and it kind of, I think it was we were there for I was there for, I think, 6 months, roughly. Yeah. And then I transitioned into running. That's basically, I got enough confidence and mobility in my mobility to go running after that. So I think trailing 2015, that's when we started, and I started running around the lake. I started taking running seriously. And coupled with that, I think there was a nice little enough gym in the where we were staying in Alps Estate. So used to do some training, some a little bit of conditioning and strengthening for the running. So that also kicked in that over the years, like after 2015, 16, I've used gymming for strengthening my running, cycling, swimming, tennis, those physical activities which are my core. And I've used gymming and gym training and weight training basically to strengthen the required muscle. So I know that I have a weak back, I have a bad posture because of my shoulders, my ankle, one ankle is weird, one knee is weird. So I use weights and gymming for that now over the years. But so
Right.
I've always kept running, and it's always been more cardio led. It's been more movement led.
Right.
I like the fresh air. I like moving myself. I like the sweat flowing. That's the only time that I like sweating. That I like the feel of the blood flowing, and I can't do this. I'm like for some
Right.
reason again, but
Right.
uh, going on मतलब from 10 to 21K runs, varying, doing a so that's been my jam. That's that I really like. In the middle, I've also had like cycling has also been a part of me growing up. I think uh I emotionally blackmailed my parents when I was in second grade for a cycle, saying I'm like, they were really losing out on the status game if their son wasn't riding a bicycle. And then he was running behind other children who were riding bicycles. So they got me a bicycle. So cycling
Huh.
has also been like one of my stuff. So uh, over the years, I've had varying kinds of cycles, but yeah, I've cycled around Bangalore, 20, 25, 30 kilometers. uh, in Hyderabad, I've cycled in Jamshedpur. So in any city that I've been in the past 6, 7 years, I think I've been in 5 cities. I've cycled, I've ran, and I've really enjoyed it.
Right.
So
Right. So fitness has been quite linear for you, right? I mean, it has been in and around these areas where you've had cycling, swimming, running.
yeah,
Maybe once in a way, it's been a bit of kickboxing or a little CrossFit, but um, nothing too extraordinary.
nothing,
So it has.
nothing. Yeah, it's been like, it's been there, like I think 20, 25% of my thought process.
Hmm.
And what actually has changed, I think become slightly more aware of my eating and what
Hmm.
I'm eating and what am I eating at times and stuff like that. So I think, and that's also age related. But I think
Yeah.
I've also noticed that when I'm doing running consistently, I want to eat healthier. Like I don't
Yeah.
want to go towards unhealthy or not unhealthy, but outside stuff, but more
Right.
in-house home cooked meals. So I've become more
Right.
aware of that now. Over the past 6 months, uh, what actually has changed is that I don't eat after 7:30 now at night. I've stopped eating food after
Interesting.
7:30, and I am sleeping by like 9:30, 10 o'clock. So I
Interesting.
think that's also age, but I really look forward to eat by like 6 to 7:30 के बीच में, evening में, and then
Right.
that's the last meal, and then I'm like, yeah, okay. So that's something that's really changed. So my relationship with food is becoming better, touch wood.
Becoming
Where
better.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Great. Yeah, I think I will come back to that point from my perspective. On the food thing, I will come back to for sure.
Yeah.
So when I met you in 2000, I don't know, 14, 15, I think I met you.
Because I should also
And
say
then,
that food awareness, you brought in a lot of food awareness for me. Matlab,
okay.
in terms of focusing on your macros, and you introduced me to the juices. So we used to have a lot of juices and my matlab protein khana. And I saw you going through the whole rigor of protein shakes and managing your protein and food. And that I was like, कुछ तो असर कर ही रहा होगा भाई, अच्छा ही कर रहा होगा, मतलब हर रोज बिरयानी
Yeah,
और
I think,
चाइनीज खाएगी. So I
yeah, I
think
think,
you were a pivotal part of that as well. Yeah.
but both of us rubbed off on each other in terms of
Yeah.
fitness, right? Because after the stint of Hypermonkey that stopped because we just couldn't go to Koramangala. At some point, it became too bad to. It was very hard to drive to Koramangala, and I was looking to do something, and then you told me, "Why don't you start running?" And I'm like, what?" He said, "Yeah, just run." And I took it up. No, I actually
Yeah.
really seriously took it up. I think
Yeah.
I ran, I think that whole round was what, 4 kilometers around the lake?
Like it was two.
2 kilometers
It
around the
was
lake, right?
yeah.
Hmm. And I remember,
One that yeah.
remember I started off running. This was the point when I was not doing any other exercise other than running. So I ran
Hmm.
2 kilometers and then I ran four. And then at some point I
Yeah.
managed six. And then I
Yeah.
went up to eight. And then I did
Hmm.
10. And I was like, holy cow, I ran 10 kilometers. And then at some point
You
I
did a
pushed
couple
it to.
of 10Ks also, right? Matlab, you went for a couple of
So
10Ks.
So I did the Bangalore Marathon 10K, which
Right.
itself was a big, big thing. I mean, my friends around me were like completely stunned that this man Ramnani is actually doing 10K.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is going on with this dude?
Correct.
This guy is going against the very tide, right? I mean, it was hard for people to believe. And then I also
Right.
remember one New Year that we actually ran from the highway to the base of Nandi Hills
Yeah.
at 5 o'clock
That
in the
was
morning. It was a 10 kilometer run,
that was
and
a 10K, right?
yeah, it was 10K. And I remember I picked you up from somewhere, and we went to the starting point, the highway, and we started running. And
Yeah.
then that is how we brought in our first one of the New Year's. I think
New Year.
2016 or 17 it was that we ran for 10 kilometers, which was very cool. Like,
Yeah.
uh, it was very, very cool. But then somewhere
Yeah.
down the line, you started going to Cult, which was right beside our apartment.
No, no. I didn't. I never went to cult. You
Oh,
started
you
going to
never
cult.
went to Cult, but you went for a trial class. I think you went for one or two trial classes.
I think
No,
I
dude,
went for a trial.
yeah, but I think you went for a month or 2 months or something. You went 1 month, ke liye you went. I had sponsored it, I think, if I remember right.
I think very
Oh, it,
faint, but yeah, I remember being inside it, and I remember seeing one of the trainers having a lot of eggs and stuff. I remember a class also. I don't remember if I did went for a month, but trial class तो definitely किया था हमने
yeah.
trial class.
And then you went, and then I said, okay, I need to go and check it out. So I went to Cult for a few trial classes, and then I got hooked onto Cult, where they
Yeah,
did CrossFit and kickboxing and
Muay
a
Thai,
lot of Muay Thai. Muay Thai. Yeah, Muay Thai was
Muay
pretty,
Thai.
pretty intense. And I
Yeah,
was there for a long time. Then again, there was
yeah.
no muscle building, or it was just basically getting fitter and fitter. But
Hmm.
something interesting happened when I was at Cult. Maybe towards 2017 or 18 to the yeah, at that point, at 2016 17 में था, I think. I don't remember, but they had a deadlift or not competition नहीं बोल सकते हो, but it was basically at the end of the class they were checking everybody's strength via doing a deadlift.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I want to try the deadlift. मेरे को try करना है. You know
Hmm.
what it is all about. So
Hmm.
I remember they started with 40 kilos, and just one rep, not more, just one rep, and you drop it. And they will go till the time you fail. They
Okay.
will keep adding weights till you fail. So
Okay.
we were about 20 of us, 25 of
Hmm.
us, or even 30 of us. I think it was 20 or 30 people. I don't remember. It was so many people. So
Hmm.
everybody got a chance. So we started off with 40, then went 60. And then at 80, half the people were out. They couldn't do it. So 80, then we went to 100. And that was
Hmm.
when we were like 5 or 6 people left. And then we
Okay.
went to 120. Then there were 3 of us or 4 of us left. And it was
Yeah.
like, for me, it was like, it was Doing deadlifts was like lifting a peanut. It was like that. It was very easy. I was like, what? Like
हाँ,
120 ka ho gaya 140. And
हम्म,
then I was the last one left, 140 pe. And
हम्म,
then the trainer was looking, do you want to add more? I said, yeah, add. So we went up to 160 and I lifted it
हाँ,
like full lift. And it was so easy to lift it.
okay,
And I dropped it. And then the trainer's like, do you want to add more? I said, I don't think I can do 180. I don't think 180 hoga. But because mentally also, it starts
हाँ,
creating a barrier. Ki 180 will be. So I said, you
हाँ,
add 10 more kilos. Don't put 20, put 10 more kilos. So from 160 to 170. And
हाँ,
I lifted it. And I remember
nice,
everybody standing there shocked. मैं उधर खड़ा हूँ, मैं भी थोड़ा shocked हूँ. I'm like, where the heck did this power come from? Right?
हाँ,
So it had been about 2 years of doing a lot of CrossFit sort of exercises with weights, with this. So definitely there was a lot of muscle that was underneath the fat. There was a
हाँ,
lot of
activated,
muscle that was building, right? But you can only see the fat, but you didn't see the muscle. And
nice,
that was the click point. Like, aha. That was like the aha moment. Okay, I need to
nice,
start, because then you start seeing, your muscle
impact,
really, yeah, the impact of built muscle. Then
right,
that was a changing point for me.
nice,
Um, and soon after that,
nice,
I quit Cult because Cult had become a
okay, okay,
shit show in terms of fitness. It became a machi market because they had got funding and they became very big, and it was all it
ऋतिक
really became
रोशन
a
आया था यार ऋतिक रोशन
Hrithik Roshan bhi aaya tha, Hrithik Roshan, and then I saw him. I saw Hrithik
yeah,
once, and I was like, yeah. Okay, interesting fact here. Let me. When I saw Hrithik Roshan in Kahona Pyar Hai, right back, I
mm,
think sixth or seventh grade. That is
mm,
when the whole fitness kida kicked in, and I was always trying to get to that
okay.
point where I could have body like Hrithik Roshan. So
True, dude. I mean, like that was also the time when I remember you're right. Like I was, I think, sixth में आया था, sixth, seventh की बात है.
right,
Boys in our class, when we were like all doing like we were checking our biceps, कितना बड़ा बेंच ऐसे गोला गोला बना रहे थे अपन लाइफ
right,
में sixth
right,
seventh में
right. So
कुछ
he
भी करके.
actually knowingly or unknowingly started the fitness kida. I think for a lot of kids, a lot of people got, like, there was Salman and Sanjay Dutt, but the real kida that
I think that was like for like 3, 5, 7 years older generation than us. For Sanjay Dutt, I think Salman Khan, Sanjay Dutt, and then Hrithik Roshan really was like when we went into sixth standard, seventh standard, full pant and all, and then we saw Hrithik and we were like, man, as a chahiye life.
yeah, but Sanjay Dutt and Salman Khan were always the bad boys, right? So everybody, and at
Yeah,
some point going to the gym and looking like Sanjay Dutt was never an inspiration, right?
yeah,
But Hrithik
that was
Roshan was
something.
a clean shaven hero type, good
Right.
looking guy,
True.
and so
Mm.
it attracted so many people to become like him. Like, fitness took a whole different meaning at that point, right?
Yeah,
So yeah,
interesting.
I
Yeah,
mean, so coming back to Cult.
got it.
So when my association with Cult got over, I found a trainer, a proper
Mm,
trainer,
mm,
and he started training me at home. So I bought a bit of dumbbells and stuff, and he started training me at home.
right.
And somewhere down the line, I was also testing him because I've gone to so many gyms, I've gone to so many trainers, and they were all shit. Like, I did a lot of my own reading, my own understanding of things, and somewhere down
Mm,
the line, me and him started getting a good sort of rapport going, and I started testing him what is his depth of knowledge.
mm,
And he also explained to me is that food is something that you have to watch. Don't count calories. Counting calories is for noobs. The best thing you should do is understand what you're eating. So even how much you need to eat, how much. So let's say if you eat more than 30 odd grams of protein, it is
mm.
useless because your body can only absorb 30 grams of protein per sitting. You cannot absorb more than that. If you eat more, it gets
Okay.
converted to fat or it gets converted to a completely different thing. And then
Oh,
he
is it?
started looking at, yes. And he also said,
30
we need
grams
to,
at a time.
at a time. That's why you have all the protein powders and whatnot. They come in scoops. One scoop is 30 grams. उसमें से 28 grams of protein मिलता है, right? So then you add a little bit something more to get, but about 30 grams of protein.
Okay.
Now
Okay.
that
Okay.
sort of knowledge is very rare to find in trainers. Because most trainers are, yeah,
Right.
you put scoops of yeah, like
Mm.
fucking, and ऐसा चलते हैं वो ऐसा phone ऐसा पकड़कर, hello baby, how are you? Yes, yes, I'm in the gym. वैसा वो you cannot put the arm down because they do these क्या बोलते हैं यार ये um, अरे यार
Shoulders, lats.
shoulders lats बोलते हैं, right? So lats, they have these big lats. ऐसा फोन को सीधा नहीं पकड़ सकते, ऐसा ऐसा, hello,
Uh,
yes baby, how are you? Yes, yes, I'll see you later. Yes, I'm in the gym. Yeah, okay, okay, all right. And then they can't walk with their arms straight like this. Is always like this. I saw, huh? I saw. And
what is
and
that about?
yeah, so there's a lot of like so so a lot of traders are I mean, I'm stereotyping, but there were a lot of traders who basically was easy to put on muscle because they always
Right.
started from the point zero. So for them to bulk was you keep consuming bananas and mass gainers and you put on muscle with my job was to lose the fat and gain muscle. So it was a very
Yeah.
it was a very balancing act. So
Mm-hmm.
my trainer turned out to be a diamond in the rough. Really,
Okay.
after 12, 15 years, I found one trainer who got it exactly what I was looking for. He
Nice.
understood the pattern, he understood things, he understood what I was dealing with. He understood the
Mm.
mental space that I came from. So it was a
Mm.
game changer for me. From telling me how to eat versus telling me what to eat was a big change for me. So he's like, okay, you know what? If you're going to eat this much, then you need to increase this much, and then you need to decrease this much. Then what sort of protein powder you get? You have to be.
Ah.
I had to import protein powder because the protein powder you got in India was shit and it was mixed
Mm.
in with a lot of shit. So I had to import protein powder, and then I started seeing results. And in 2018 was one of the fittest points I've been um in my life. I mean, I looked absolutely. Uh,
2000?
18 was the best. I was, I was fit. I was tall. I was big, and I had confidence. Like it was
Mm.
crazy to a point where I would walk into a place and I had women actually smile at me, and I'm like, whoa, ये थोड़ा अजीब है कभी मेरे साथ जिंदगी में भी नहीं हुआ है ये तो पहली बार हो रहा है so these are the things that happened with me in terms of fitness
Nice.
but yeah that was the turning point for me the deadlift put kicked me off into another sphere and then he
Mm.
started training me at home this trainer and then finally he pulled me to the gym he was working out in a gym and he asked me to come work out there so we used to work out together and every day between 9 and 11 o'clock at night, between 9 and 11, we had to work out at the gym. And it made a huge difference. Like my shirts were fitting so nicely. My pants
Mm.
were like very well, it was sitting on my hips properly instead of this big stomach that was flopping over. My blood
Nice.
test was absolutely on spot. So that is what changed. Like, for example, that was the big change for me. My trainer which who I still use, even though I'm in Germany, I still use him, and he trains
Oh,
me over
nice.
video. Yeah, so
Nice. Nice.
he still trains me over video, and we still try and do as much as I can, given the fact of I have a baby now and whatnot. But that was a big game changer
Nice.
for me. It's like a great teacher. Like if you have a great teacher in school and you sucked at mathematics, all of a sudden you're coming first in class. So it was like that. Was
Yeah.
a was a great teacher of fitness. But yeah, let's get on to the food aspect of fitness. I think that is something that we
Yeah.
should definitely talk about. And
Right.
what changed for you when it came to food? What did you understand of it?
So I've I've always been uh I've been a small portions eater, but I like eating like 5, 6 times in the day, and I have a very chatora mouth, so I like the taste in my mouth and crunchy, crispy, fried stuff, and all of that is my jam. Still is to some extent. Uh, so and it was never like uh growing up. It was very simple home food, but it was always like we had a range of food, but it was not very bahar se kuch utna zyada nahi tha. Then obviously you shift out and then you start eating out and experience hostel food, experience bahar ka khana and everything, and that तो एक habit हो गया. But I was never an overeater, so I never was at any point in time in life where I was eating a lot and then gaining weight because of it. Uh, and then uh, it was at around 2015, 2016 was when a lot of I started incorporating more like healthier stuff in my food with more awareness. So
Mm.
अ, ग्रीन टी पहले आया, फिर थोड़ा जूस आया, फिर सुबह में अ, इंस्टेड ऑफ पराठा, एग्स आ गए, म्यूस्ली आ गया, ओट्स आ गया. सो इट वाज़ दैट ट्रांज़िशन धीरे-धीरे करके ऑफ सेल्फ अवेयरनेस वेयर यू वर मतलब आई वाज़ डिलीटिंग little things, and then it kind of and then these things kept happening, and then slowly the transition also happened during COVID to more home cooked food. So
Right.
during COVID it was more like कि अच्छा घर पे क्या hacks है, क्या बना सकते हैं, it's not possible every day, तो ये चीज है, इसमें बना सकते हैं, and these are the things that I like. And uh, वो करके आया. And then around 2 years back, I think, when I was in Hyderabad, I finally was like, okay, fine, I want to see what a trainer can do. And then again, there's this trainer who a very close friend of mine had trained with and recommended very strongly. She saw very good effects. Her husband, her brother, all of them trained over video. And he happened to be from Jamshedpur. So I happened to have like this a 6 month thing with him where he charted out like a proper based on my pictures, based on my weight, based on a lot of other factors. He again kind of did a diet chart for me where there was a breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack kind of thing, these many grams of protein, these carbs and stuff like that. So he kind of structured it for me. So now I knew कि okay fine. Now I knew कि मेरे को मतलब 2 अंडे खा रहा हूँ तो 4 अंडे खाने हैं. 4 अंडे के साथ 100 ग्राम चिकन खाना है तो बढ़िया रहेगा. Then that can be
Right.
reduced out of the चावल can be reduced और चावल is not that bad before like धीरे धीरे करके हो रहा था कि चावल खराब हो रहा है but now I'm like कि ठीक है if I've not eaten the whole day then I'm okay to go and have like a 200 to 250 gram of biryani which is rice and chicken and curd and have a little salad with it. So I'll add like a portion 100 grams of salad along with my biryani now, right? But
Right.
I
Right.
will only have that biryani if I've not had like a proper breakfast and lunch, and then I'm going to have a biryani, which was what I was doing probably 6, 7, 10 years back. So that
Right.
change has happened. So now I'm like, okay, fine. I'm going to have a biryani today, but only going to have a biryani today.
Right.
And सुबह में थोड़ा 2 अंडे खा लिए तो I'm sorted. तो अभी खाना
Right.
है तो जैसे I'll have 2 bread slices, 4 slices of bacon, eggs, sausages, but that's the only lunch that I've had in like 8, 10 hours, right? So
Right.
I'm actively started to leave myself at 80% of my stomach.
Right. 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 Very
And
good.
I'm
Very
actually
good.
enjoying that sense. था यार मतलब मन तो कर रहा है खाने का but applying that little self control also is like narcissistic about me कि बेंच
Yeah.
थोड़ा तो मजा आ रहा है विल पावर लगाने में but so yeah, so those are the changes which have slowly started happening, and I think yeah, it was more formalized. You gave me one direction where you were like, ठीक है, juice पी रहे हैं, and I saw you, and so that was one pinball direction towards eating healthier. Then
Right.
COVID was another healthier when home food kind of took over. And then I was like,
Right.
ah, theek hai. I don't have to order every day. And then signing up with a trainer 2 years back where he structured again for me. I was not very good at it. I'll say that I've only been able to do like 60% of what he said. But
Right.
now but even I'm okay, I'm great at 60%. मतलब I'm not like कि मैं 100% कर लूंगा और six pack बना लूंगा. I know कि वो नहीं होने वाला मेरे से. But I'm very Bihari for that thing to happen. My head. I
Ah,
will
interesting.
just
So there
yeah,
has been a lot of deletions. I think that's great. I mean, I think fitness
yeah,
is a very all around thing, right? I mean, you keep adjusting your intake, you keep adjusting what you take and what you don't take. I think
yeah.
that is a part of fitness. It's just not one linear goal. It's such a evolving concept with age, with time, with
Oh, also,
understanding.
yeah, sorry. I'm like, I think I should also put in the fact that over the past 2 years, I work in a mithai company. Okay. Well, I should really stress on this fact. Here I'm surrounded by laddu, jalebi, barfi, samosa, kachori, chaat, ice cream, cake,
Oh,
pastry, puff, uh,
oh,
uh, chagori, chakalu, mixture, kaju, kismis, badam. I am
hi,
surrounded by
hi,
it. मतलब I
hi,
sit on the
hi.
second floor. मेरे नीचे मिठाई बन रही होती है, हर रोज की 1000 किलो मिठाई बन रही होती है, ऊपर में
Arre
मिक्सचर बन रहा होता है। मैं
hi,
कभी भी
hi.
ऊपर जाके कभी हैंडफुल ऑफ काजू पकौड़ी उठा लेता हूँ, कभी नीचे आके एक लड्डू खा लेता हूँ। मेरा 2 साल से ये चल रहा है। ठीक है। मेरा सो नॉट अंडर एस्टिमेटिंग द पावर ऑफ अ हलवाई, बट दैट्स ऑल्सो बीन एन इंटरेस्टिंग journey for me in terms of because matlab, you know that I have like the monstrous munchies ever.
Right.
And
Yeah.
me working in the place that I work in is like going mad in the chocolate factory. Okay. Matlab, I go
Oof.
nuts,
Oof. I
literally.
mean,
But
I,
that's
it's,
also again,
I can imagine it.
dude, matlab, the willpower it takes for me to not go and have a jalebi every day and just have it once a week. Can you imagine? Matlab, jalebi is the national food of Biharis. It's the national breakfast of Biharis. And me not having it only once a week. Why?
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I want to interject with that one food journey for me, which has been a challenge. But yeah, I've been able to ward that off. So I give myself a lot of credit for not going completely bazongas on it.
Yeah, yes, I think that is something. Food and willpower and stress
Yeah.
management are so all interconnected. Yeah, for me, it's like stress is directly proportional to my food intake, which is directly proportional to my fat gain. That's the simplest
Also,
equation in my life. And my problem was the post midnight snacking.
yeah,
Man, so it was so crazy. I mean, while I was even gymming, this was so hard to
yeah.
manage. The stress. Stress. Now, one of the things I've realized
Yes.
is even going to the gym is stressful because it puts stress on your body. That is why it releases serotonin,
Mm,
right? You run, it's stressing your body and it releases serotonin.
mm,
It's like any sort of stress you put on your body releases serotonin. That's why it feels good. That's why it feels
yeah.
stress relieving, right? It's the
Mm.
natural way of stress relieving. But gymming was not enough. It was always the food, which was a big, big factor in my life that created a lot of like my midnight snacking is legendary with all kinds of stuff that I used to eat from Nutella to Parle-G and Nutella to Mari biscuit with Nutella in between and Mari biscuit on top and not one fucking gazillion one night. मतलब उधर मैं डेडलिफ्ट कर रहा हूँ
Nice.
इधर भाई साहब ऐसा लगा के खा रहा हूँ मैं like they धनाधन and it was
Nice.
always when it was stressed, right? And I personally suffered from a lot of sleeping problems like रात को नींद नहीं आने का 2 बजे 3 बजे 4 बजे then used to go to the kitchen and kitchen इस किचन में बैठ के पेल रहे हैं हम, जो भी मिला, मिक्सचर मिला, ये मिला, वो मिला. It was quite the, and it probably is still a thing, but very rarely now, very rarely.
Nice.
But food, one of the things I think, I started getting cleared up on food when I met this trainer also, and before that also
Right.
started concentrating on food. And the problem with reading a lot of stuff online, right? It never aligns with the life you are leading or
Right.
living.
Hmm.
Abhi, when I was in Bangalore, I had somebody cook for me, and I
Hmm.
cannot always ask that person, "Acha, you make it according to what the internet says." It doesn't work.
Right.
So
Hmm.
that and I tried to adjust my intake as much as possible, but it was a bit
Hmm.
difficult. So my trainer understood that, and he said, "Nene, don't, but try and eat as much home food as possible. But you
Hmm.
have to add and subtract things on your own. Jaise ki protein shake, how to take your
Hmm.
protein, when to take your protein. Before you go
Hmm.
to the gym, make sure you have a high calorific meal, high but
Hmm.
good calories. मतलब अगर तू if you're going to the gym, one of the things he said, you have two sandwiches made of jam and cum. मैं बोला क्या jam? बोला
Hmm.
हाँ jam. बोला क्यों? This is completely against what you're saying. He said no. When you
Hmm.
come to the gym, you need glycogen and fast glycogen. And jam,
Okay.
if it is not consumed, it converts to fat. So if you have something that is high in sugar, and you come to the gym, you have the energy to push through, which is very important. You lose weight after you finish the gym. When you're sleeping is when you burn fat. I said, when you finish the gym, that is when you start controlling your food, not right before the gym. You cannot come to the gym empty with an empty stomach or
Right.
a half or
Right.
if you've not had a good meal in the day, forget it. After you
Hmm.
wake up and before you go to the gym, you need to make
Hmm.
sure you have had good meals, a proper, not have, don't have junk food. जैसे कि तुमने you have very like you have pizzas, but if you have a homemade pizza versus the outside ka pizza, it's a difference because the nutritional value is different, right? जैसे कि तुम
Right.
what you get from Domino's in terms of nutritional value is absolute dog shit, right? But if
Hmm.
you have a pizza at home, it's fine. It's like if you have a
Okay.
pasta at home, it's fine. So
Okay.
it's how you see it.
Right.
Nutritional value. What is jam? Jam is basically sugar and क्या बोलते हैं स्ट्रॉबेरी
Okay.
का पीसेस है उसमें और उसमें डाल के तुमने जैम एंड यू हैव ब्रेड white bread which is again
Hmm.
another form of glycogen like a lot of sugar,
Right.
but that is
Hmm.
great right before the gym when you really need to power through
Right.
because to lift weight you need energy.
Hmm.
But after the
Right.
gym, 12 hours after the gym, that is very important to control. So तुम जब घर जाओगे, then what do you eat? You eat,
Hmm.
let's say you eat chicken, then you eat high protein stuff. You eat high
Hmm.
protein, low carbs, but you still need carbs. You cannot be on a
Hmm.
protein diet, not because your kidney goes to shit, but
Hmm.
when you're working out, you release a lot of sugar from your muscles.
Hmm.
Okay, and to counter the sugar release, you release a lot of insulin as well. Your body releases
Right.
insulin, right?
Right.
And the same principle applies when you eat food. So you
Hmm.
for the body to uptake protein properly, you need to
Hmm.
have insulin. You need to have insulin that needs to be released into the body,
Okay.
so the
Hmm.
body can uptake nutrients. So
Hmm.
when it's basically this, when sugar gets released, insulin gets released. It's the sugar molecule. Uh, it activates your insulin, and the insulin helps the body to absorb nutrients. Simple, right?
Hmm.
Simple. So even when people are taking steroids and whatnot, they take a shot of insulin with steroids. So the body takes up the steroids in the bloodstream.
Acha, okay. Okay.
So the carbs is that. So when you take a high protein, low carb diet, the low carb activates the insulin in your body, so your body can absorb the protein effectively. So that is why you
Right.
always have a bit of carbs with your protein. So
Right.
right after the gym, you always have to maintain a high protein, low carb diet. And right
Uh,
before the gym, you could have a protein carb similar
uh,
variant, no problem. So you can have do teen chapati kha lo, paneer kha lo, dal
uh,
kha lo. And each body, again, is very different. My metabolism is very slow. That's why I'm a
uh,
mesomorph. I don't, my
uh,
metabolism is extremely slow. So I
uh,
don't, melt food away very fast. It takes time.
uh,
So that also you have to take into account. Yeah. So that has been food to me. Like, but yes, over the years, I've realized stress is a very, very big factor. And if I cannot manage
uh,
stress properly, I eat a lot,
uh,
and that basically causes weight gain, for sure. And but over the years, I've also been very, very careful when it comes to regular eating. जैसे कि मैंने lunch में क्या खाया, dinner में क्या खाया. So it's always a good combination of carbs and protein, for sure. There's always meat in my food. There's at least 50 to 60% of my food consists of meat. See, not even 60, I'd say 80% of my food consists of meat in some form or the other. Like I have eggs in the morning if I can. If I have time, I have eggs in the morning. In the afternoon, I'll have something to do, some pasta with meat in it. I'm not going to say it out loud, but you know. Dinner was also the same in a certain way. There's always some meat, and there's always chicken or something, but there's always some meat, some portion of meat.
nice.
So that's
Nice.
fitness. I mean, there's always a
Yeah.
source of protein. Like, and then there's this misconception, हाँ तुम्हें 100 ग्राम के दाल में से तुमको 24 ग्राम प्रोटीन मिलेगा. तुम 100 ग्राम लोगे दाल का, उसको बनाने जाओगे तो
Uh,
वो बहुत बहुत ज्यादा हो जाएगा. तुम 100 ग्राम दाल नहीं खा सकते. You take a katori of
right.
dal, you only get 4 grams of
Uh,
protein. Simple.
uh,
तुम्हें 7 कटोरी खानी पड़ेगी for you to get 24 grams of protein, and that will cause you enough
right.
gut problems.
Right. Right.
So that has been the food aspect for me. Now, interesting bit. About 2 years ago, this is
Uh,
the interesting bit. About 2 years ago, we started getting something called Ozempic or Wegovy, right?
okay.
So this has
Educate.
been a game changer in So this has been a game changer in terms of fitness and basically helping people with a problem with food, basically. So
With food.
as I mentioned, food. So I mentioned earlier, right, that there was a lot of. So as I mentioned earlier, food has been very tricky to control, and uh, about 2 years ago, when Wegovy and Ozempic got introduced, I was contemplating on taking it.
Okay.
And my reason for that was it was very hard to maintain my gym going. I couldn't consistently go to the gym because I had a marriage to do, plus I was pretty much on my own. I was
Uh,
taking care of the food. But either though, you don't get help. Everything in Germany, it's very hard to get help. You have to do everything on your own.
uh,
And it was getting harder and harder to control my food intake because it was just very difficult to maintain a certain um,
level of
a
consistency.
certain level of consistency. So then I took Ozempic for the first time,
Okay.
and I did what was supposed to be done. I took it in doses. I started with 0.25, then 0.5, then 0.7, and then went up to 1, and then 1.5 or 1.8, and then 2.4, right? 2.4 is a maximum, and that's where you go to 2.4 mg per shot.
Okay.
And it was life and game changing. But there are some downsides to it, which I will explain. Let's get to the good stuff first.
Uh,
Food became something that I enjoyed, but I didn't overconsume, which
Okay.
was great. My
Okay.
craving, the late night craving, just died. It stopped completely. Even if I was really stressful, I didn't feel like eating food, which was great. It took
Okay.
care of that. Then because I was not consuming food. Remember, food is also inflammatory exercise. It creates inflammation in your body, right? Because I wasn't consuming copious amounts of food in one sitting, my
Uh,
stomach, reduced in size. It became smaller. My inflammation, the inflammation that happened was much lesser, and my skin started clearing up. So I have eczema. It all started
yeah.
clearing up. You see, much better than what it used to be.
Oh, is it? That's okay.
So
Interesting.
eczema started getting better. Like my eczema started getting better. Mentally, all the brain fog that I used to have completely
Hmm.
gone.
Okay.
Uh, the lethargy or the fatigue that I used to feel gone, completely gone,
Hmm.
finished. Um, and what else? There were I was on I used to use a machine to sleep for sleep apnea.
Hmm. Hmm.
Stopped using it. Finished.
Oh,
The it took care of it, and I've never been happier after that. It has been one heck of a wonder drug. Now, and there have
interesting.
been a lot of studies saying that it helps with it reduces your the chance of cardiovascular events.
Okay.
That has gone away. So now my heart is beating better. Things are really
Hmm.
improving. So it has been a wonder drug, but now there's an offset here
Hmm.
because uh, you do not consume that much food and you
Hmm.
remain invariably hungry. You don't feel it in your head, but your body knows you're hungry. It starts consuming
Hmm.
muscle. So
Okay.
because
So
muscle is
you're running
something
on a
that holds
calorie
sugar.
deficit.
Yes, but without working out. So if you don't work out, you lose muscle, not fat.
Right.
So what happens is you need to work out while you are on Wegovy, so that you maintain
Okay.
muscle and your body gets a chance to gets a chance to reduce the fat. So you have to
Okay.
constantly maintain muscle. That's the thing.
So you have to. So workout is necessary for this to work.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I mean, they're sure
So
to
now,
show 100% results.
yes, so you
You're
need to
still
work out.
seeing results.
You're seeing results, but you're not losing fat. You're losing muscle. So whatever you see on the weighing scale, it's the loss of muscle, not loss of fat. Now, in working out, very important. There are two things that determine the number on your weighing scale. There is fat and there is muscle. Both have a weight component. Yeah. So and water.
Hmm.
Water is another one.
Hmm.
So when you go to the gym for a week and you start seeing what you've lost 1 kg, that means you've lost water weight. Water that is in your
Okay.
body. Yeah.
Hmm.
It has nothing to do with fat or muscle. And if you're on a
Hmm.
calorie deficit and if you don't have your protein in the right amount, then
Hmm.
you also become a target for muscle deficiency. That means it starts eating your muscle rather than because to eat your muscle or to have your muscle release glycogen for your body is much faster than to consume fat. You
Okay.
get
हाँ
it?
ठीक है.
You see. So any
Yeah.
physical activity you do, you lose muscle. Simple.
Hmm.
So in order to offset that, you go to the gym to maintain muscle,
Hmm.
eat a higher protein diet, and
Hmm.
then your body starts consuming fat. So you have to maintain a level of fitness to consume Wegovy. It's like that. So Wegovy basically
Hmm.
is the last puzzle piece of the
Hmm.
whole fitness journey for my own fitness journeys. The only thing I have to be is consistent at the gym. If I
Hmm.
get that equation right, which I
Hmm.
haven't been able to do in the last 6-7 months because of the baby, but if that equation
Hmm.
starts falling into place, the gym, the food, the Wegovy, it's like a trifecta. for sure, for sure.
Hmm.
So,
Interesting.
so
And so
that's
this is
the
a continual, you'll have to keep taking it.
yes to a
One has
certain
to keep
point.
taking.
So if I come to
Whether
a
you get
point in
your
my
ideal
sorry,
weight and stuff, then you can, when you come to your
yeah,
ideal weight and stuff, then you can wean off it. Right.
yeah, ideal weight, and then it is a mental challenge. So that means when you come to the ideal weight and ideal fitness, let me say, then you
Hmm.
basically start weaning off it, but your body will start going back to the old ways. You know,
Right.
the only difference is your stomach is smaller, so you don't want it to expand. So you have to be mindful of how much you eat. Right now, I'm not mindful because I just don't consume that much because of the drug.
Got it.
So
Got it.
as soon as I get off it, as soon as
Huh.
I get off it, uh, my body will go back to its old ways. Whatever
Huh.
changes I've had, that I have to mentally maintain. You know.
Okay. So,
So
and this is to kind of put it out there. Is it out of, matlab, do you have to take like a doctor's prescription? How is it? Do you need to get some tests done or stuff like that before you start taking it? What are the
In
prerequisites? Because
Germany,
it's been, yeah.
it's very simple. In Germany, you if your BMI is of a certain level, then you get the Wegovy. I mean, also you could just basically go to the doctor and say, "Yeah, I want to lose weight," and he can give you a prescription for Wegovy. I don't know about India. I think they just released Wegovy and Ozempic in India just about a week ago. They've launched it in India. So I'm sure there will be a lot of people who will be taking Wegovy. But remember one thing, fat loss and muscle loss are two very different things.
Hmm.
Wegovy will cause you to lose a lot of muscle, which you have to take into consideration. And it needs
Hmm.
to be offsetted by working out in the gym to maintain muscle and lose fat. So there we go. That's my
There we go. Oh,
that's the final quote of this episode from me. And
nice.
that
Nice.
has been the journey for fitness for me, and it continues even now.
Till now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Good stuff. Good place
Yeah.
to, I think, round off. I think, yeah, that's a good
I think we
download.
touched upon we touched upon the origins, we touched upon food, uh
Yeah.
we touched upon a lot of aspects of what fitness is from two different perspectives. I think yours was a very linear approach to fitness. Mine was a very haphazard, chaotic approach to fitness and how it has evolved. Um, how weight training came into the picture and so on and so forth. Mm,
Yeah.
but the next time, I think, for the next time when we do another pod on, next time we do an episode on fitness, I think we should definitely cover some of the philosophies that we go by. I think that would be very interesting when we
Yeah.
come to a point.
That'll be
Yeah.
interesting. That'll be interesting.
And
Yeah.
we
Because,
should definitely discuss what there definitely has been some extraordinary goals that we want to achieve in terms of fitness. I think we should discuss that for the next episode for sure.
Iron Man incoming. But yeah,
Something like that.
for
Yeah.
sure. For sure.
Anyway, so I think we will stop right
This one
here.
was a good one. Yeah.
Yes, it was a great one. Thank you so much for everyone out there for joining us. I know this is going to be it has been a long podcast. But I think
So has
this
been the
is
fitness
really,
journey.
it has been, yes, it has been a long journey.
Yeah.
I think, as I said before, this format really works. We do one episode and it does over a few months, and it really brings a lot more to the table than doing it a lot
Yeah.
at, yeah. So I think that's good. That's good stuff.
That's
So thank
like
you
for
very
me, it's like
much.
when yeah, for me, it's like when I'm not a every week, every month updater or talker and stuff like that. I like to have some meat on the bone to chew about
Exactly.
and stuff
So
and really get out stuff. So yeah, it's been good.
absolutely. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me, Mr. Gan. Thank you to all the
Thank you.
viewers.
Thank you.
Wherever you are, however you are, best wishes and see you next time.
Keep fit. Keep fit. Have fun. Take care.
Bye bye.